now listening to the Zay Moore podcast.
I want to know what Zay thinks
There's
about
a few
that.
things that we got to address.
Black people got the swag. Black people set the trends. We are the culture. We got a reality star for our president. It's insane. Even if they try to erase black history out of schools, it's not going to erase black history. Because we've been here. Kendrick Lamar definitely beat Drake in that battle. Hands down. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep it real with my people. Because if we don't keep it real with each other, who will?
What's going on, everybody? I'm back. I know it's been a while, but you know who it is. It's your boy Zay Moore, and I want to welcome you back to a brand new episode of the Zay Moore podcast. Yeah. Today is September 28th, and we got a few things to talk about, a few things to unpack. And I said it's been a while. It hasn't really been a while. It's only been 4 days. It just feels like, because I love doing this, it's like 2 days feel like 8 days. So I apologize if it feels like that for you too. Probably not, because y'all got your own lives. You're like, I don't know why does a dude think that we just be sitting around waiting on him. That's probably what y'all thinking. But who knows? Maybe you are. So if you are, I'm just glad to be back, and I'm excited for today's show. We got a few topics to discuss. We're going to go over the Chicago school funding cuts. Your boy's done it again. Your president has done it again, taking away essential resources for people just because they're not doing what he wants. So we're going to unpack it and why he did it. Also want to cover the Jimmy Kimmel return. A few days ago, we did discuss him being pulled off the air, due to what was seen as insensitive comments towards the Charlie Kirk situation. But he's back, and I'm glad he's back. So I just want to give a few updates on that. Singer Khalid also released his latest video, Out of Body, for his latest single. And there's a little divide. So we're going to talk about the Out of Body video. For those who know Khalid, if not, I'll definitely put y'all on. And last but not least, there is a controversy here involving Starbucks and Charlie Kirk. So people are going into the store, and you know how you order your drink, they are saying that their name is Charlie Kirk, and they want that name to be called out when their drink is ready. From what I'm seeing, people are claiming it's just, this is what Charlie Kirk died for, free speech. A bunch of hoopla. They're just using it as a political weapon, trying to get people fired. I don't even want to dive into it yet, because that's how I feel. So I want to get into how I feel about it after we lay out the story, the facts. But all that and more. Just excited to be back. We're going to talk. We're going to inform. We don't gossip like Dame Dash be saying. We inform. So, y'all ready to get today's show started? All right. So we're going to go ahead and dive into our first topic today, y'all. We're going to talk about the school funding cuts in Chicago. So the Trump administration has withheld millions from Chicago public schools, including an $8 million magnet grant, citing the district's Black Student Success Plan and transgender inclusion policies. In total, over $17.5 million is at risk. Other districts hit include New York City, Fairfax County, and VA, and states such as West Virginia and New Mexico, with nationwide freezes exceeding $6 billion in grants. Yeah. So these cuts basically signal a federal leverage against local DEI and identity policies. Why, right? Why are we trying to take away representation and programs for oppressed individuals, people who need it? It just makes no sense, especially schools. Like, come on now. But anyway, really quickly, I want to go ahead and briefly jump to ABC 7 Chicago for the story. Want y'all to get a little brief overview of everything, and then we'll be right back to continue our commentary.
The U.S. Department of Education has pulled millions of dollars in funding for Chicago Public Schools' Magnet Schools Assistance Program. The Trump administration says it did so because CPS did not abolish the Black Student Success Plan, and the district didn't ban transgender students from using bathrooms or competing in sports that match their gender identities. CPS was expecting to receive $8 million.
Again, shout out to ABC 7 for that story. So why is the administration doing this, right? I want to unpack that a little bit. So as we heard, right, one reason was the demanding of the end of the Black Student Success Program. And I'm going to give you just a little bit of a backstory on what that is, because it is a very good incentive that I feel Chicago had put forward, right? So the Black Student Success Plan is a plan initiated again by the Chicago Public School, CPS, launched in early 2025. Its stated goal was to address long-standing achievement and opportunity gaps faced by Black students in the district. The plan is a multi-year roadmap with multiple components and strategies. Okay, so, it focused on everything from recruitment and retention of Black educators and leaders to things like culturally responsive teaching and curriculum and belonging and student engagement. Something that is very important, because everyone deserves to feel important, especially in school, those forming years where a lot of times it is hard to figure out where you fit in or, like what's going on around you, so I think that was a great success plan. But that was one of the reasons their funding was cut, because the federal government says this plan is discriminatory or violates federal civil rights laws. Yeah, whatever. I don't know how. But anyway, we're going to move on. They also had some policy demands regarding transgender students, right? So another condition was that the CPS must bar transgender students from using bathrooms or participating in sports aligned with their gender identity or adopt strict definitions of male and female. The education department is trying compliance with those policy demands to continue eligibility for magnet funding. CPS was given tight deadlines, just days, I believe it was the 23rd was their deadline, to comply or lose the funding. The department claimed that Chicago fails to address the harms befalling CPS students, while the district violates federal anti-discrimination laws. So for CPS, while the magnet funding is a relatively small slice, of this overall budget, the cut still leaves a hole, I feel, and not I feel, it's shown, in tens of millions of dollars, potentially forcing program cuts, scaling back of magnet initiatives, or, just the gathering of essential resources. It signals that Trump's administration is willing to use federal funding as a lever to enforce ideological conformity on school districts, especially around DEI, race, equity, transgender policies. And also there were other districts, states that are facing funding cuts or withholds. We got New York City, my hometown, and New York is one of the districts targeted for magnet school assistant program cuts. As we know, about $15 million in magnet funding is at risk. The education department is demanding changes to transgender policies, among other conditions. Fairfax County and Virginia, $3.4 million in magnet program funding is being withheld from Fairfax. The district was given similar demands to align its policies on transgender rights. So we see there's a pattern here. Number 3 is West Virginia, statewide, more than $25 million in federal education funding for after-school programs. Summer school was frozen. Also, New Mexico, the Trump administration is withholding approximately $44 million from K through 12 and adult education programs in New Mexico, including allocations to individual districts. So he just cutting. You get a cut, you get a cut, you get a cut. And I don't mean to, like laugh about it, but it's I'm just trying to make light of the situation, man. It really sucks because instead of finding a way to make things work for everyone, right? Because the bottom line is we have transgender children in schools now, and what do they not deserve to get an education because they don't fit the norm? I think it's time for people to step out of this religious, conservative-based mindset, because it's really keeping us stagnant and just adding to the divide that the world is going through right now, for real. And to touch a little bit on the transgender portion of it all, I think everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves to be safe. Everyone deserves an education. I'll start there. And trans people have been around. You feel me? Like, this is nothing new. Of course, we know for much of history, schools really didn't recognize or support gender diverse students. Until the 1990s, most trans or gender nonconforming students were forced to pretty much hide their identities because schools had no policies, language, or protections for them. So as time went on, right, LGBT groups like the GLSEN Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network began documenting harassment of LGBTQ students and pushing for anti-bullying protections. A few pioneering districts adopted non-discrimination clauses that explicitly included gender identity. And then, within the 1990s and the 2000s, we had a lot of LGBTQ groups, that started to really take heed to the harassment of LGBTQ students and started pushing for anti-bullying protections, which of course was amazing because we had a lot of districts that began to allow, name pronoun changes. So, that gave the kids a sense of self. We had the Obama administration back in 2016, they issued a federal guidance directing schools to let transgender students use the bathroom and facilities aligned with their gender identity. Of course, this was later rescinded under Trump in 2017. Okay. It's a slippery slope, right? Because when we're discussing how parents feel, how other students feel, the appearance of it all, it's just a slippery slope, right? And I try to take heed when I talk about trans rights, right? Because although I am gay, I have to keep it a buck. I really don't know much about the trans struggle, and that's me being honest, and I'm one where I don't like to talk in vain. And if I don't know much about it, I will research and then dive into it. But what I do know is that trans people are human just like everybody else. And I feel like trans kids deserve a space too. And I don't know, because some people argue, when it comes to schools, oh, well, create our own league for them, create their own thing, right? Or create a school just for trans kids, right? But when we talk about inclusion, is that really inclusion, right? Are we allowing these kids to be who they are, but grow up in a society that welcomes them? Or are we teaching them that, okay, well, this is who you are, so just get ready for a life of exclusion, right? Imagine building a school just for trans kids. Like, come on. Again, right? It's when we talk about the bathroom thing, because that is a big discussion around this. I don't know, because I'm also not a parent, so I understand from a parent's point of view. When it comes to that, why some people would have some reservations, about their child, a female child sharing a bathroom with a trans female, who might not have fully transitioned yet. I have to say, yes, I do understand those sort of reservations. However, we can't think just, because someone is trans that they are going to, sexually assault someone in some sort of way. So again, it's just a lot of layers to peel back. However, I do not think that the funding should have been pulled. I think this is bigger than just trans rights. This is bigger than just the Black Success Program. This is, again, a clear dictator, play by my rules or you lose move. And I just don't think that is presidential, to be taking funding from schools. Like, what are we doing? It's like dangling a carrot over, it's like, what are you doing? And I think collaboration instead of conflict is the answer here, right? If you work directly with the school districts to sort of co-create policies that balance student safety, parental concerns, and local context, we might get somewhere, Convene panels of educators, parents, and transgender youth themselves to guide best practices. So in short, what I say is, instead of cutting money, a supportive administration could use federal resources to add protections, expand services, promote inclusion, making schools safer for all students, not just transgender kids. It's like he's undoing everything that Obama did. Just kind of reeling it back. And I missed that time because there was so much peace going on. Not to say that there weren't, things going on when Obama was in office, but there was a different aura. And you set the tone, right? As a follower, you set the tone. And we can clearly see what, the tone is of the world right now. Every time I open up my phone or I turn on my TV, there's a shooting somewhere. I just heard about a shooting out here in North Carolina. Somebody was on a boat shooting into a building. Like, what? like really? And if people are not seeing the direct parallels to, everything that's going on politically, you're bugging. Whether you want to dive into it, talk about it or not, it's happening. And it just sucks, right? And instead of targeting trans people, LGBT people, black people, immigrants, we should be focusing on how loose these gun laws are right now. That's what we need to be focusing on. Okay, putting funding into like mental health and shit, because people are really out here just Grand Theft Autoing up. Shooting everywhere. For real, I'm about to buy a bulletproof vest because you just don't know. For real, you just don't know at any point. You could be anywhere, and somebody who feels politically moved in some way, you feel me, could just pull out whatever. You feel me? Not even just little pistols these days. These niggas is walking around with AKs and government weapons. You feel me? So yeah, I'm about to give me a bulletproof vest because you just don't know these days. You really don't know. You really don't know. And I understand why people just be staying in the house. You feel me? I really do. But yeah, we're gonna follow the story. I hope Chicago will be okay. I hope they continue to, as a community, still push for these incentives, right? Because one thing that they can't control is the power that you can have when you come together as a group, as a community, as a culture, right? So I hope that Chicago continues to, within their own services and movements, support these students and just make sure that they're set up for success. Yes. So moving on, guys, we're going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. He's back on the air after being suspended. And to give you a little context, in September, he drew intense backlash for some remarks he made during his monologue about the assassination of conservative Charlie Kirk, criticizing how some were trying to politicize or distance themselves from the event. In response, ABC, owned by Disney, temporarily suspended his show. Also, the FCC chair, Brendan Carr, had publicly commented that broadcasters needed to take care, over politically sensitive content, which many saw as pressure. So the latest developments, right? We know that the suspension lasted from about September 17th to September 22nd, and his show resumed September 23rd. However, many ABC affiliate stations, notably those owned by Sinclair and Nexstar, chose not to air his show initially, continuing blackouts in various markets. So as of late September, Sinclair and Nexstar have reversed course and reinstated airing Jimmy Kimmel Live. Yes, they are now airing Jimmy Kimmel Live. His return episode pulled in about 6 million viewers despite the affiliate backlouts. So, still, showing that people were standing 10 toes down for him. And that definitely was a big stance for free speech. There's continued debate about the role of political pressure, free speech, and how media networks respond under ideological conflict. So, again, it's not much to say he's back. This was definitely an attack on free speech, and we need satire. Satire is important. You know, the use of humor and irony and exaggeration to criticize or mock, per se, some of these societal issues, individuals or institutions, I think is needed, you know, because if through, you know, shows like South Park and Family Guy and, you know, people like Kimmel is the only way that we can get these people to pay attention, then yeah, let's keep at it, you know. So I won't spend too much time on it. I just want to say I'm glad Kimmel's back. I did watch the monologue. I thought it was great. You know, he acknowledged, you know, how some people might feel about what he said. He apologized. It was sincere. But he also stood 10 tones down, you know, on what he felt about free speech and just showed a lot of gratitude. So, again, shout out to Jimmy. And, yeah, glad you're back, bro. Yes, sir. Speaking of back, my back is hurting, y'all, like hell. I know that was random, right? But I think it's because I've been pushing a lot in the gym, you know, so I definitely could use a massage. But, you know, when I can't find that, it's all about comfortability. You know, I got to be comfortable while I'm home chilling. So I want to introduce y'all to Cozy Health. Cozy Health, my friends at Cozy Health specialize in luxury bedding, loungewear, and home essentials made with breathable bamboo. So their sheets, robes, pajamas, and blankets are known for being ultra soft, temperature regulating, and durable. Cozy Earth has earned accolades like Oprah's Favorite Things, multiple years by the way, and emphasizes high quality and sustainable fabrics. Their membership program gives you perks like 20% back on all orders, early access, and a welcome credit, y'all. Gotta get that. Plus, we can't forget about the domestic free shipping on orders over $100. So I want y'all to go ahead and snuggle in some style with Cozy Earth. And guess what? Because y'all my peoples, right? You know, because I always look out for y'all. Just go to their website and use the code Zay Moore Pod, and you'll get 15% off, y'all. 15% off with the code Zay Moore Pod. All right? So go ahead and get you some Cozy Health today and tell me how you like it. So have you guys seen this video, right? There's a woman in the video going around where, you know, she's at Starbucks and she's exploding, pause, on the worker because instead of calling out the name that she requested to be written on her drink, the barista bought her the drink. Y'all know the name she wanted on the cup, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and listen to this. I have it on my phone. I'm actually pull this up. This is when it begins.
Yeah. She's recording right now. I am. Yep. Why can't you say his last name? What is happening? Why are you being like that? Why are you being like, yeah, why are you being like this? Yes. Well, okay, why are you being
This is
like
another customer stepping in.
I'm not. I actually am making a point, a big point.
She's making a political point.
I actually wrote a very good post prior to this.
So what?
I wrote a very good post prior to this. I wrote a really good post. I was really hoping you were going to make the right choice.
All right, that's where I stopped it, because what the hell was the right choice? Let me tell you something, all right? I wish I was in that store, because I definitely would have let that lady have it. But let me tell you something, all right? Turning a neutral space into a political stage is not what we about to do, okay? Starbucks is meant to be a neutral commercial space where customers can relax. You feel me? Pop open your laptop, do some homework, write some emails. So by asking baristas to write Charlie Kirk, a polarizing political figure, name on a cup that's not even theirs, mind you, customers, basically what you're doing is you're pulling these people into a cultural war that they did not sign up for while they're just trying to work and make a living. Not to mention a lot of these workers who are at Starbucks are like college, you know, high school. So essentially, you know, you're forcing these workers, these frontline workers, to participate in political signaling, which they did not sign up for. They're just trying to make their money. And again, right, we all know that Charlie Kirk, and the association with hate and harassment, we're just going to call it what it is. As a conservative activist, he is celebrated by his supporters, but also, associated with some controversial anti-LGBT and anti-DEI rhetoric. That's just what it is. So for queer and marginalized baristas, being asked to write his name can just feel hostile. And when it comes to the policy, I think that the workers did exactly what they were trained to do, or what they were supposed to do to keep the peace. Starbucks says that customers can give any name they like for their order, but the company also notes that slogans, offensive words, or phrases that could be seen as harassment are not required to be written. And unfortunately, to some, his name alone just is a slogan of offensive words or phrases. Period. So in the Charlie Kirk case, Starbucks clarified that his name isn't banned, but employees are not obligated to write things that feel like political slogans or hostile messages. Keep that in mind, and then keep in mind all of the rhetoric that he spreaded while he was here with us. When it comes to barista discretion in practice, they do actually have some discretion. They can refuse to write names if the request feels inappropriate, offensive, or it is designed to provoke. They'll often offer an alternative. I can just put Charlie instead of Charlie Kirk. This is to protect employees from being forced into uncomfortable or unsafe situations. So if y'all were listening to the video, that's exactly what that person did. That worker did. She bought the drink over, right? And I'm pretty sure that was after she saw the name. And she said, okay, probably said to herself, hey, well, I don't want to incite any sort of uncomfortable situation or jump into any sort of political situation right now. I'm on the clock. I'm at work. I'm not in the mood. Let me just take this lady her drink. I'm pretty sure that's what she was thinking to herself. You feel me? And again, I just read they can refuse to write names, or they can offer an alternative. So her name wasn't refused, but the alternative of calling it out was, hey, let me just go ahead and bring it to you. And again, this is to protect employees from being forced into uncomfortable or unsafe situations. So as someone who feels like, oh, I'm going to walk into this Starbucks and make a political statement, you don't have a right to go into people's places of work and just harass them. You feel me? Like, it's just not okay. And I'm just so sick of it. You feel me? I'm just so tired of the political games and the bullshit. And it's like the world is just in the middle of it all. You feel me? It's like we just being ping-ponged. The shit is ridiculous, if you ask me. I think right now the leadership that we have is all over the place. It's all over the place, because the fact that people can feel like they can use this man's name as a political weapon is ridiculous. Once we get past the fact that what happened, right? How unfortunate it was, once we acknowledge the fact that no one should be taken away from their wife, from their children, it's like, okay, now it's like, what are you doing? Okay. She said, I didn't play it, but there was one point in the video where she said, this is what Charlie Kirk died for, freedom of speech. This is exactly what he died for. Are you serious? For real. Charlie Kirk wasn't a civil rights activist. Let's start there. He wasn't using his free speech to bring people together. And when we talk about free speech and hate speech, and we've talked about this before, but free speech does not protect harassment, threats, or incitement to violence. So advocating responsibly means defending the right to speak without turning speech into a weapon against others' safety or their dignity. Also, when you're fighting for free speech, you want to push for dialogue, not punishment. Fighting for free speech doesn't mean to silence others. That's not what free speech is. The better route is to debate, right? Publish op-eds, host community forums, create podcasts. You want to challenge these ideas openly and respectfully. So in short, y'all, the proper way to actually fight for free speech is through peaceful protests, open dialogue, and respect for the rights of others. Not by forcing speech in private spaces or punishing workers or companies for choosing not to participate. That is bullying. That is harassment. Let's stop that, all right? For real. If I was that manager, I would have been like, yo, get the fuck out my store. We asked you twice. Now I'm telling you, get the fuck out my store. For real. Sometimes you gotta put your foot down. You know? Free speech, right? So I would have used my free speech to say, get the fuck out my store. For real. Get out. But anyway, y'all know what that sound means. That means we have made it to the end of the episode. Yes, I'm so happy that y'all came to chill out with me today. I'm going to thank you so much. We're going to skip the Khalid story because I want y'all to go check out the video first. Tuesday, we're also going to be covering Cardi's album. So being that Tuesday's more of a entertainment day for us, I want to fit that into Tuesday's story. So, go check out the song. Again, the song is hot. I have no problem with the song, y'all. It's more so the video that I'm kind of side-eyeing. So check that out. That's your homework, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. But, I mean, today's show was great. We got into a few things. We got into a few updates. I'm going to thank y'all so much for hanging out with me again and just, supporting me. I have to say, by the way, I went overnight, y'all, from 121 cities, 8 countries to 32 countries. I can't even name all of the countries that are listening. I don't know what happened or what episode picked up, and I gotta continue to look at the analytics. But thank you. 32 cities nationwide is crazy, right? Outside of the US, you feel me? That speaks volume. And whoever's pushed that alarm and got people listening overnight like that, thank you so much. For real, I don't know what you did, but it's like my voice just went viral overnight. So I'm just filled with gratitude. Today's gonna be a great day. I'm about to go have me a sip of champagne to celebrate. And man, just thank y'all again for all of the support. Y'all know what this means to me. I gotta remind you before I go to follow me, of course, at the ZayFiles_ on Instagram, the Zay Moore Podcast on Instagram for all the latest updates. All right, y'all, and until next time, thank you again so much. And y'all know what it is at all times. Peace.